Heidi ho, my crafty friends. How are you today? I hope you are doing so well. Today is, I would say a lovely day, but it's a fall day here in my state of Pennsylvania. I love fall days. So today we are going to work on this page. And you know what? I need to turn on the light, don't I? So how's that? Can you see better? I can see better. Okay. So we're going to recreate this page or something similar on this page. And I have the same little napkin. It's a napkin. And I'm going to show you today even how to take a napkin apart and how I apply it. It's simple. Now, this is how you create that page. It's made with, I don't call it masking tape. It's painter's tape. And I used my blue tape and my green tape. Now my blue tape is, how big is this? Is 1 inch. It's 1 inch. And my green tape, I think, is about 1/4 of an inch. Okay. Now you can get these at any hardware store. You can even get them at the Dollar Tree. You can get them anywhere that sells painting supplies. Walmart, any place like that. Just go back to the paint supply store and you can get them, okay? So, let me make sure that you can watch what I'm doing. And that's what creates the lovely image of trees back here. I know, they're not exact, but, you know, we do what we do. Now, I'm also going to use, let me sit down here. Hold on. You all know I gotta sit for a little while longer. I'm also going to use my brush, my blending brush, and I'm going to use, let me put that out of the way. I'm going to use a couple of different, I don't need that. I'm going to use a couple of different oxides and inks. So I'm going to use my Vintage Photo, my Scorched Timber, and my oxides. Let me get the glue out of the way here. We don't need the glue. Let's put it back on my cart. You all know it's my friend. And then in my inks, I'm going to use my Vintage Photo and my Fired Brick. And we're going to play with these two and see if I can't mix them to get me the color of orange that I want for something. So we're going to play around with those two here in a minute. Now, what you need to do on this, after you've picked your page, is if you're like me, don't get hair under your under your tape, is you're going to take your tape and you're going to lay it out on your page however you want your trees to look. The line that's between your tape is going to signify your trees. The outside, okay, the outside, let me show you here what I'm talking about. This is the trunk of the tree. Okay. This ends up being the space between. Okay. Trunk of the tree, space between. That's why you want a coffee dyed page. Okay. You can make them as big or as small as you want. And as you can see down here, this one fades into very, see it down here? Very teeny tiny, because your eye would naturally follow that into teeny tiny land. Over here, this one is larger. But where I added my fox, he kind of gets covered up a little bit. Okay? Now, you're also going to need your dryer, because oxides and inks have to have time to dry before you can do anything else on them, or they smear. So I dry mine a little bit, and then I do my next step, because I don't want it smearing everywhere. Now, as you can see, my space here is going to be a big space, but the trunk of my tree is small. Now, as I get started, I can add another layer on top, which is my plan. So my first plan is to use my Vintage Photo. Oops, I forgot. here it is, my antique linen. And okay, there it is right there. And you want to use a different sponge, or you can even use a different domed sponge if you want. And I have one in here for my linen. I just have to reach back here to it, because you want kind of to lighten this up in here if it's needed. So up here it's a little dark, but it's going to be made darker. So take a look at the areas, and if one of your trees is a little too dark, take an antique linen, take one of your lighter shades and go over it. Ah, there's the orange I wanted. Okay, forget this one. I don't need that one. Take something like antique linen, take a lighter shade and go over it to lighten it up a little bit. Now, let me show you what I mean by that. Okay, let's put antique linen on here, and I will show you what I mean. Now, where did it go? Here it is. Okay, so I'm going to put some antique linen on here. Now, if I wanted this to be a little bit lighter up here, I would just take this, and you're not going to notice it right away. You're going to notice it when you pull the tape off. So right now, I'm not going to really notice anything. And I'm not going to notice a lot over here. But I'm noticing more than I thought I would over here, which is okay. An antique linen kind of gives it a little bit of a glow, which is kind of the look that I want behind the trees. So I'm going behind the trees. And it's okay if I go over them, because my darker colors are coming in a little bit. Okay, so now I've got my glow behind them. So let's put this away. Now we need to be careful that we don't get a lot of ink. I've even got my hair pulled back and I'm still getting it everywhere. All right, so now we just need to be careful when we go over these. And sometimes I'm a little heavy-handed with this when I go like this, because I tend to get it in places I don't want. Okay, so let's start with our vintage photo. And I want to do this back tree in my vintage photo. Now, a note here, when you put your tape down, don't push it down hard, because it will tear your page. Just kind of lightly lay it down enough that it's sticking, but not that you've... pretend you're not painting the page is what I'm trying to say. Okay? You don't want to paint your page. Now, I'm going to start with this at the top, because your darker colors of your tree are going to be at the bottom. Your lighter colors are going to be at the top of the tree as your eye. Look at a tree outside. The lighter shades of your tree are outside. The darker colors are at the bottom where everything is massed together. The lighter is at the top where the sun is hitting it, okay? So take your lighter shade and lightly go over it, okay? Just lightly go over it. Now, we're going to blend in all the colors that we use, so don't panic if it's not looking the way you don't want it to look with your paint on there, because it's going to look different when we take it off. Now, these are stems coming out. So my stems, both of them, and as you can see, I'm just using the tip. I'm using this part of here to get on them. Okay, and up here, And I'm trying really hard not to get in my area that I made glow. I'm trying really hard. Okay, so now I need to make sure I follow my lines. Now, I've kind of got an advantage because I have a whole bunch of trees right in front of my window because there's a mountain there. So I can kind of tell what, you know, what is light, where the dark comes in. And for me, the darkness comes in. Now, if you don't have the inks you want to use, you can do this with paint. You can do this with watercolor markers. Put them on your stamp cubes. You know, those acrylic cubes. Put them on there. I've done this before with, I don't know where the journal is, but I've done them before with, I've done it many times with paint. Like you're stenciling very gently. And I've made many, many trees. Okay, so now I'm going to take just this brush, okay? I'm just taking my little short-handled dauber, cleaning off my mat, and I'm just going to load it up. And whatever's on there is on there because I'm putting it away. I'm not going to get any more. Now, over here, I'm going to blend from the bottom to where I stopped, okay? And I'm not going to add any more. I'm just going around and I'm going over the tape. Okay? I'm just going over the tape. And if I have to, I'll come back with this and I can blend it a little bit more. I might even come up and smack onto those little branches a little bit. Now, coming up to these also. I'm trying to be really, really careful. Okay, I see I got it a little bit. That's not the end of my world or anything. It's a little bit, you know, down here is naturally going to be dark. So I'm just going to take and add a little bit of darkness down here. Just a little bit. I'm not, you know, I'm not throwing the world into darkness. Okay. Now, I want to add, I'm going to take this off and I'm going to show you what we have. So I'm going to take off this piece first and I'm going to be very gentle because I don't want to tear my paper. And sometimes I get a little heavy-handed and I'm going to see if I need to pick up anything anywhere. Okay, so the next piece, and it's going to tell you the next piece you need to take off just by looking at it. Very slowly. There we go. And any areas that you crisscrossed on your tape will just disappear. Okay. Now, I'm going to take off these two. Oh, wait, I can't because this blue goes over that green. So let's take off the blue. Let's start up here at the top. So it just goes off at the bottom. Okay, you see it? This is a wider tree. I was backwards on my trees. I apologize. This is my tree. This is the space between my trees. I always get that confused. Okay, this is just my first level. Gentle. Okay, I haven't torn any paper yet. Thank you, thank you. Oh, I need to pour my tea. Hold on. Let me get my cup over here. I think it's ready to pour here. It's been sitting in my little, I don't know if you can see it here. My husband got me this cute little tea for one set. It's got a little mug and a little cup, and I just love it. So I can put my favorite tea in it, and okay. I was feeling like I just needed to relax today. All right, so let's pull this down. So I thought I'd pop in here and make this little video for today. I get to see my grandson this weekend. I am so excited. He has figured out crawling, and he pulled up for the first time, and he's getting his very first tooth that has finally broken through just a smidgen. Whoops. See what it did right there? So to prevent any more, you go back and forth. Oh, come on. All right, let's see if I can get it from another angle here. There we go. I pulled it up from the bottom to stop it tearing my tree. All right, let's try this one. Oh dear. Yeah, warning about that green tape. It can go down and stay down very tight. So if you're using the wider green tape for painting, it is awesome. If you're using it on paper, it can be vicious. Okay, now the next level I'm going to do is going to be all, I'm going to use, not that one. I'm going to use, where is it? There it is. I'm going to use all gathered twigs on it. So I'll show you how I put it down. And they're all going to be done with this, okay? So I'm going to take this, and you can tear this tape. They all don't have to be straight lines. You know, they don't have to be straight lines. And they can go off the edge of your page if you want. If you do that, make sure as you pull it off that you get it past the page before you give it a yank. So this one, I want to go across these. So I do want that off the page. And I do want it off the bottom. Like this. But I don't want it to be that wide. And I'm going up. See? Darn. Why is that catching right there? I think because it was a little one. So I'm tearing it like that. Now I'm going to take this piece here. That was a stinker. And I'm going to, if I can get it, oh my gracious, it's getting all twiddled up, isn't it? Maybe. Maybe I'm going to use it. Okay, maybe I'm not. It's all wrapped around my fingers. So let's put that in there. And let's just pull off another piece. And I want it to go right in there. And we'll just tear it in half before we... All right, I'm just tearing it before I even use it. Like that. And I'm attaching it to my desk this time. There we go. That's better. Okay. And I'm trying to be really careful with it. Now, this little one here, I want to put over here. Oh, wait, that's smaller. I want to put this end up here. Now, remember, some of this is going to be covered by your little fox. Okay, that's all that I want. No, you know what? I think I want one to go across those guys. And that's basically all you do. You don't do anything else other than this. Now, if you're painting if you're painting, you have to let the first layer dry before you do anything else. All right, I think I want this torn at the top, like a broken tree. And I think I want it torn there, just like that. Okay, so now I'm going to take my gathered twigs. Okay. And I'm just going to use, I've got a clean one here, so it's just gathered twigs. And I'm going to do just like I did before. I'm loading it up. Okay, so whatever's on there is on there. Let's get this out of the way because I'm going to have to turn it. And I'm going to just go over it just like this. And it's okay that I'm getting it on this other tree. That's kind of what I wanted. I wanted it to do that, so that's okay. And I'm just going over it. I don't mind that at all. Now I'm not doing great big circles on it. I'm just doing little ones. And I'm just using even pressure all the way down. Okay, now let's put the lid on there. Somebody's making an awful lot of noise out there. Okay, now let's take our tape off. Let's do this one first. Okay, I think this one. Nope, it's this one. There we go. And then this one. Ah, darn it. It caught where that other one tore. So let's take it from that way. All right, I'm just going over it like that. Okay, now what I wanted to do with this color is I wanted to add just a few leaves dotting here and there. That's what I want to do. So to do that, now I don't know if this is going to work. I have no idea. So I'm going to take my rusty hinge. And I'm going to take, let me find my water bottle. It's hanging here somewhere. There it is. And I got in the mail yesterday a gift for my grandson. And it had these little poofy things in it, you know. So I popped it. And I'm just scrunching it up as little as I can scrunch. Give me a little poofy down here. And I'm going to water some of that down. And then I'm just going to go like this in a few places. So I don't need a lot of this, but I'm going to go like that. That's all I need. I'm going to water this down a little bit. Let me get my brush that we use for this. Let's move it around here a little bit. And that's a little more orange than I wanted. So let's use That's ink. I don't want the ink. I wanted... Let's use a little of this brown. Let's put a little of it down there. Let's see if we can mix that together and get me the color I want. I wanted it a little bit darker. That's the color I wanted. So that is Rusty Hinge Oxide with Vintage Photo Oxide versus, let me wipe this off, just Rusty Hinge. So that's got a little more of a brownish shade to it, which is what I want. So I'm going to take my little poofy that I made here, just a little tiny one, because it's just a little page. And I'm just going to dip it in there, just like that. And I'm going to give myself a few little leaves here and there, especially over here on my little stems. And I know right now it's not really going to look like much, you know, so I need to... It's just looking like blobs. But this is just my background. All right, now I'm taking just the Rusty Hinge and I'm kind of going over it to give me a lighter shade. Let's give a few down here. Even my old dead pine tree has a few stems on it. Okay, he's barking at UPS, so I might have to go out here and grab UPS for a second. You know how slow my UPS man is? Good gracious, he can sit in my driveway until tomorrow and never come down the driveway. As soon as I see him get out, I'll... Okay, that is not looking like I wanted to. I think my paper is soaking it up. Okay, so it is not looking like I wanted it to in my head. I'm wondering if ink would work better. Well, we're going to worry about that in a little bit. I'm going to give it a chance to dry. Okay. I'm going to let that dry for a minute. Oh, yeah, see, it's soaked all the way through, so maybe that's the problem. Okay, I need to put something behind it for the next step, so let's put that behind it. Just like that. And let's put these things away. Let's get our desk cleared off for the next very messy step. And I will be right back. Okay. Now, let's work on our... Let me put this back here. let's work on our fox, and then we're going to come back up here because that is not looking the way I want it to look. And I think I'm going to use my little stamps because I don't like that at all. So I'm thinking I'm going to use my stamps. After we get our fox on. Okay, so if you want to use a napkin on a page, don't lose it like I just did. Oh, here it is. Oh, my good golly gracious. It is a day, let me tell you. Okay, so the first thing you need to do is make sure your napkin, well, number one, is going to fit. Because if it doesn't fit the page, okay, mine fits, but if it doesn't fit the page, then you need to alter it. What do I mean by alter? Well, that means you need to go over it in some way, shape, or form to allow it to fit. So you're going to have to pick out areas of it to either trim off or, and by trim off, I mean cut or tear. Now, my preferred way to do this is tear. Now, you can see what I'm doing here, at least I hope you can. I'm taking my little brush and I'm just barely rubbing it across because this is really, really white. And my page is not. So before I tear anything, I'm going over the fox I'm going to use, the background area, and I'm just kind of filling it in a little bit with a little bit of oxide because I don't want it to be that white. Let me show you the difference now. There's the one I haven't touched. There's the one I touched with what's left of the oxide in my brush. See the difference? Because I don't want it to stand out as really, really white on my background. But I also didn't want to make a big blob on it, so I didn't add anything on my brush. I just took whatever was left and I rubbed it on here. So you can alter your napkin, but do it before you take it apart, okay? Because it gives you a little more strength. There, that's what I want. So now I'm going to put it away. I don't need these anymore. I have no use for that until I'm finished with my page. So I know this little fox is going to pretty much fill that page, which is my plan. Okay, so what am I going to put it down with? Well, I have options. I can use soft gel. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Here, I want the small one. I can use my soft gel. I can use a glue stick. I can use one of those two items. Now, if I use a glue stick, then everything is really, really sticky for a while. And this book has to remain open for at least 24 hours. And I have put them down with glue sticks before. I'm not really fond of the overall texture when they're finished, especially for big projects. I don't mind them for smaller pieces, but I don't like them for bigger ones. All right, let's take this apart. So I want to use the one. that I darkened. So I'm just going to cut it off. And I'm just going to use my scissors. And I'm going to cut it apart from the rest of them. That's all I'm going to do right now. Okay, so I'm going to cut out the piece that I'm going to use. Easy peasy. Cut out what you want. Okay. Just like that. Now, I've still got the rest of it that I can use. So I'm going to put it aside. Now, there are a couple ways that you can get this apart. There's the tape method. Let me show you the tape method. The tape method is very popular. You just take a little piece of Scotch tape, okay? You put it on the back of your napkin, and I put mine on the little bumps. See these little bumps that come where it was printed? And I squish it down with my thumbnail, and then I lift. Just like that. Just like that. But what I don't like about that is now I've lost a piece of this. But that's okay. Now, some napkins are 2-ply and some are 3-ply. So you need to make sure that you have all the plies off your napkin. So to make sure, you need to try again with another piece of tape, just a little tiny one. Take a little tiny one. That's all I do. I take a little tiny one. And I try against the bottom. I'll put it against the bottom. And I'll try lifting. Okay? I will try lifting it apart. Oh, there is. Mine does have 3 because now I can see them coming apart. It's right there. See it coming? And that third layer is the hardest layer to get apart. That third layer, that's the one that doesn't want to come. But that's the layer that has to come. That layer, if you don't get it, your project is going to bubble. There it is. See it? This is the layer that has to come off. If your project has it. Okay, and when I started pulling, I could see the difference. It wasn't as evident as the first layer, but I could see it. So I had to be very gentle in pulling it. So I can put these over here. Now it looks like I'm just looking like through a piece of fabric. I can actually see my fox. Okay, now I don't want my fox just to be square. I don't want that. So I'm just going to take my paintbrush. I'm going to take my bottle. Ooh, it looks like my bottle needs cleaned terribly. And I'm going to stick my brush in my bottle. And I am going to outline where I want my my paper to tear, just like this. And I'm just outlining my fox where I want my fox to tear with my water. Okay, now after I've done that, I can pick it up and I can easily tear it and not tear my fox. And it gives me those nice torn edges that just disappear on my page. Now you still have to be gentle. Okay. Now, I don't always use a brush. Sometimes I just use my finger after I get it wet. And that also gives me the look. Especially if it's an intricate pattern. There. That's what I want. Now, I don't want this straight edge here. So, I'm going to take my brush and I'm going to get this wet, and I'm just going to use my thumb and I'm going to pull off some edges. just like this. Just like that. Now, I'm not pulling a lot. I'm just pulling just a little bit because I want those trees. See? Now that, whoops, I need to go up here. Come on. There we go. There. That's giving me what I want. Now, I can put my fox in here. That's how you alter your napkin. And if it's still too big to fit your page on something like this, you could alter his tail. You could alter your trees. You can do anything you want. But this is how I want it to go. I want to be able to see some of my trees down here. I could add stickers, or I could add other stamps of bunny rabbits. I could add things like pumpkins. I can add washi stickers. I can add anything I want right now. Now, this needs cleaned, but I don't want to spill it. So I'm going to put the top on it and put it over there. Now, to add it to my page, I'm going to use my soft gel matte medium, maybe. Let's put this away so I don't get glue on it. And let's put my tape away so I don't get glue on it. And my matte medium brush. Now, when you're finished with this matte medium with your brush, you need to make sure that you wash it out. Don't let it just sit because it will dry hard as a rock. You want to ask me how I know these things? You want to take some and you want to just brush it on the back of your napkin very gently. And you don't have to do this if your napkin is small, but since this is a pretty large napkin, I'm going to do it. And I'm going to lay him down where I want him because I do not want matte medium all over this page. His tail's going to go there. And I don't mind if he gets a few wrinkles. I do not mind that. Okay, now I'm going to lay him forward. And I'm going to add some more up here. And I also don't mind if my trees get a little wrinkled. That's okay with me, but you do have to be really gentle, especially if you're doing something like trees. Okay, I'm being really gentle as I put this down. Now, I know this is going to go right here. Now, I can't put glue on this other piece because it will stick to his little face. Now, see this piece that's sticking off here? That will have to get cut off. And I need to put stuff right here on his little tail. Or on these. There we go. Now, after you get everything down, you're going to go over it with your matte medium. The entire image you want to cover with your matte medium. And if that includes the area that you just put ink or oxide on, then that's okay. But be very gentle. Okay. Now, I like to go downwards toward the bottom of my page. Other people start in the middle and go out. I try to go down from the center because that way if I get wrinkles, they go down. But I'm still being very gentle. And as you can see by looking at this, because I let that dry for a little bit before I did anything else with it, nothing is running there. Okay? Now it's attached. Now, I can't take that off yet. I have to let it dry or it will tear the rest of it. Now, up here, I still don't like that. So, it's dry, so I can flip my book upside down and we're going to stamp up there. I can't do anything at the bottom until it dries. I can't put my pumpkin stamps. I can't do anything. In my little stamp set I have a pumpkin. Do I have anything else? Nope, I just have a pumpkin. And we're going to put pumpkins and maybe some fallen leaves. Okay, and I'm going to have a drink of tea out of my little Winnie the Pooh mug. So refreshing. And if you would like to join me in a cup of tea one day as we're crafting, one of my favorite teas. Now, I'm not doing anything to support them. Is, gosh, I don't have the name of it. It's a Twinings, and it's a super blend, and it has an apple on the label. I'll tell you the name when I post this so you can see. Okay, so, oh, darn, get back up there. So up here, I want to just put some random little leaves. So, let's see, I guess it's going to need to go that way. So I think I want to use that one. And there's the little pumpkin I was talking about. I'm going to do a couple of little pumpkins down there. And down here, there's a little saying stamp that says, a beautiful day, and this one says, this is my favorite. This one says, autumn leaves in memory. So, but this one also says gratitude. So I'm not sure which one, but this one says hello fall. I might use that one. I'm just, I'm not sure. I might make a cluster and use all of them. You never know with me. Although I do have a fall cluster bouncing around here somewhere I might use. Okay, so here's my leaf. Now where did we put, oh, here it is. Is that it? Oh, that's not it. Where's that rust? Oh, here it is. I think we're going to use this. And maybe we'll also put in some green. Yeah, because this really isn't showing up very well, is it? So maybe let's also do some fired brick on top of those. Maybe like that. Ah, there we go. Okay, where's my paper towel? Now, I have a green. Maybe we'll do a set of these in the green. That's not it. This one. And we're going to do that on top of that one. There we go. Okay. going to add a vintage photo maybe down here. Oh, wait, that's a little bit too wet, I think. Okay, I'm going to have to make sure I wash it because I think I just got it in the wet. I think I just got it in the glue. I'm going to have to get out my... I have to get this out and wash it off. And then when we get ready to do the... let's get that glue off of it. When we get ready to do the bottom, we will also do some leaves around the bottom of him. Okay, I think I got the glue off of him. Okay, there, I got the glue off of it. Let's make sure we stamp off that glue. Yeah, it's off. I'll make sure I wash it real good in the bathroom too. That's better. I got it off. There we go. Okay. All right, I'm going to leave it on there so I don't forget. Let's make sure we have all the glue off of here. Or make sure I didn't get any glue on here. Okay, so there's where we stand so far. So we're going to have to call that part 1, is what we're going to have to call him. So in part 2, you can see I did him upside down because that's the way I was facing. In part 2, we'll add maybe a couple going the other way since I'll be able to look the other direction. We'll add a couple of fallen leaves at the bottom. We'll add maybe our pumpkin that we have on our stamp set. Let me show you the stamp set here. We'll finish this up. We'll add a couple of different leaves. We'll add our stamp set, and I'll go on and create our little saying, and we'll add a few leaves going in various directions now that I can maybe turn it the other way. And I also have some leaf charms. And as I was creating this one, I thought, now some little leaf charms might be cute. Hanging off the top, you know, as a little tab to kind of mock this one. Maybe. We'll see. So I wanted to show you really quick how this finished up so you could see it. So this was the front. This is the inside with everything. Here is the little side tuck, and in here, and here's a little cluster that we created. Here is this pocket here, and all of my little tags have eyelets in them. That little pocket there turned out well. I'm going to put something on there. I'm just not sure. This paper, I think, is really throwing me back here. And then when you flip it through the back, this little side pocket we made, I just used a little tag from that kit, and I cut it shorter and just tucked it in there. And then here are 2 tags that came with the kit, and I really like those with that. And then on the inside, I added these 2 really simple little tucks, and there's a little note, and here's that. It's just a simple little pocket made out of it's book page, and it's got another piece on it. It's got a little stamp, and it's just really simple. I just thought it went really well in that little pocket. And here's where it attaches. And I haven't quite decided what to add to this yet. I may add some stamps on it because washi tape stickers won't stick to it like on the other side. So I may add either some stamps or some other little items to decorate that. So that's how that turned out, and I was very, very happy with it. So I want to thank you guys for joining me today. We'll call this part 1 of our fox page, and we'll get it finished in our next video. So we just need to let our little fox dry, and then we'll come back and finish him up, and we'll have some fun in the rest of our journal. It is coming along very nicely. Can you believe it's almost November and we're going to be starting our Christmas journal? Oh my gracious, I couldn't believe that when I looked at the calendar. I've been watching other creators who create Christmas journals all of October, and I thought, what are they doing? And then I happened to look at the calendar and I thought, oh my gosh, it's almost November. It's amazing what I miss out on when I'm not paying attention. But you know what? Things happen, don't they? Things just happen. So we're going to be starting ours in November, and we're going to have some fun. And I have a fun project planned for a simple November journal. So be saving you, if you want to create one with me, save a padded envelope, and we're going to have a good time making a Christmas journal. It's one of my favorite patterns, and I would love, love, love to have you create one with me. And that's all I'm going to tell you about it, because I'm not going to tell you my secret that goes along with my Christmas journal. It is a secret, so don't tell anybody. So until I see you again in our next Ladybug Journal video, ta-ta for now.